Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Help me to welcome someone else, and I hope that you subscribe to this podcast and share it to your loved ones. And we will take a look at what has been going on this past couple of days leading into the weekend. And as we head into a brand new week, let's take a look at what has been happening with the trade war, US versus the rest of the world, and let's look at how things are beginning to shape up. First of all, like I said, subscribe to the channel, follow me at Lord Chima on YouTube, and let's get it started. So the trade war rages, no end in sight. There's been some turns, ups and downs, but it certainly rages. China increased its tariff against the United States to 125%, and the US hits back, increases tariff to 145%. And over the weekend, Trump excludes certain products from his reciprocal tariff. He excludes things like smartphones, computers, and the administration says this class of products will be categorized with the semiconductor segment of the tariff that would be rolled out in about 2 months from now. Some people, some commentators, and if you look at some in the TV, in the media, that begin to say, oh, Trump is caving in, China is winning, Trump is making a U-turn on his tariff, and all that and all that. And of course, that is to be expected from the media because they are never on Team Trump. So any twist, they are going to blow it out of proportion. But the point is that it is good for some companies like Apple. Is a reprieve on them because it was reported that Apple had lifted about 1.5 million cell phones from China and expedited the shipment back into the US, in order to beat their tariff deadline. But now that they've been excluded, at least at the moment, that's a reprieve for them to now re-strategize on what to do going forward. And Trump also, on his social media post on Truth Social, to be precise, announced, that's where he announced his tariff hike to 145%. And I will paraphrase what he said in that post. He said that China has shown a lack of respect to the US and to the world, and that the days of ripping off the US and other countries is no longer sustainable and acceptable. And he went further to, say that more than 75 countries had already called to negotiate a solution to the ongoing global tariff. And based on that, he's putting a 90-day pause on his reciprocal tariff on all other countries apart from China. And he brought that number down to the 10% baseline for all countries. Some are still going to get for instance, the fentanyl, 20% fentanyl tariff. So he brought it down and for 90 days. while that gives other countries time to try to come to a solution and come to a deal with the White House. So that's where things stood. Uh, Assad this weekend. And according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he said that this has been Trump's strategy all along. That he was hoping to goad China into a very bad position. And I think by bad position, he was talking about, the fact that Assad today, over closer to 100 countries have called to make a deal regarding the trade deal. And regarding the trade war or tariff war, so to speak. So by saying that the whole strategy is to put China in a blind or in a bad position, he was trying to say that if every country comes and make a deal and China refuses, and then it will appear that China has been the bad actor all along. And that is what he meant by that. So, so the way I see it personally is that at least in the short run, Trump is trying to make China look like a lone wolf in the trade war. And it is fair to say that China has been the target all along. China has been the target all along. China is being accused by not just the US, many countries of so many irregularities in their trade dealings. And I think Trump decided that this is the time to make a move. So the whole world is right now calling Trump to make a deal. And it appears that, in the past week or so, China had also made overtures to some countries. And it was reported that China actually made an overture to the EU. And they actually rebuffed it, at least in the meantime. But President Xi is also making his own moves. He is set to visit a host of countries in Southeast Asia. And I think the report says he is starting with Cambodia, and then he heads to Vietnam, and then he will head to Malaysia and all that. So he is in the mood. He wants to fight. He wants to rally the troop. And whether he will be successful or not is yet to be seen. But I recall that China does a lot of trade with all its neighbors, in the hundreds of billions of dollars. So it's a very strategic move, very smart move for Xi to, try to mobilize the troops, as it were. So it is looking increasingly that Trump had set up a kind of cinema, a show for the whole world to watch, the art of the deal in real time. And we are seeing it unfold. It's at times it's difficult to place a finger on the madness, so to speak. So you just have to watch and see how the chess game is being played. But we are all watching. We will see. We know that the media and the Democrats and some Republicans will continue to get it wrong regarding this trade deal and this trade war and the tariff. Basically, not because they don't understand what is going on. They have an idea, but they will not give Trump the benefit of the doubt whatsoever. So any move that looks like it's not turning positive, they are going to amplify it so much, to make him look so bad and terrible. I remember in the first few days of the tariff war, when the market started plunging, it was all over the place. Recession, the media, mainstream media was all over the place, talking about recession, talking about Armageddon. But even though they know that that's the way the market reacts to uncertainty, that it always will come back, which it has been coming back. So he has that to deal with, and people like, I was watching CNN the other day, people like Kevin O'Leary of the O'Leary Ventures. If you remember the Shark Tank, you will know that. You will remember that he's one of the hosts. He is even more hawkish when it comes to China. He wants Trump to put a 400% tariff on China. And according to him, he said when that happens, President Xi will be in the plane the next day coming to the U.S. to talk deal. We don't know how that plays out anyway, but that is how some people actually are passionate about what is going on. Um, you know, so I will have to give you guys some statistics about the effect of the trade deficit between the U.S. and China. What the effect has been over the years. There's a study by the Economic Study Institute. It says that the U.S.-China trade deficit has cost America up to 3.7 million jobs between 2001 and 2018. So that has been in their estimation and research and also calculation that over the past couple of decades, that 3.7 million jobs has been lost to China as a result of the trade war. So when you look at the whole picture, you understand that this is not just a trade war, it's an economic war, it's a monetary war. It is a war to determine who will continue to dominate global trade and economics in the coming decade between the two biggest economies. So that is what this trade war is all about. This tariff war, that's what it's about. So let us now go and ask some questions. Let's ask some questions regarding what is going on between the US and China. And one of the questions that people have been asking is, who do you think will be worse off between the two countries? Who will be worse off if this war continues? If there is no solution in sight, who will be worse off? The other question is, who is likely to capitulate? Who is likely to bow to pressure? And the other question is, who needs who? Between the US and China, who needs who at the most? First of all, these are very difficult questions to answer. And in some cases, we know what the answers are. But let me start from China. We all can agree that the Chinese as a people have brought a lot of content a lot of literacy, a lot of art, a lot of business, a lot of tech to the whole world. Everybody can agree to that. Whether you live in Africa or you live in South America, Australia, anywhere you live, you know that the Chinese have brought a lot of tech and have actually enriched the whole world by what they do. So that is very, very significant. Nobody can write that off. It is also important to note that the Chinese economy, as big as it is, as extraordinarily as it is a highly export dependent economy, which is very good, which can also be a bad thing, especially in the context of this trade war. China has done exceptionally well within the last 20 years. Became number 2 in the world in terms of economy. China has also spread its tentacle all over the world in the past 20 years. Controls most countries in Africa, in the Caribbean, everywhere. China has spread its tentacles. The population has been the biggest until recently. India inches ahead, but inched ahead of them. So it's a huge economy, it's a huge population, and they control most, if not, most of the rare earth metals and minerals in the world. They control it. They have it in China, and they control most of the other ones you see in the Congo and most other African countries. So they have their tentacles all over the place. So that is kudos to China. Kudos to China. So China is in a very strong position. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the past US administrations have done what Trump is trying to do now. Let's say they did it in the past 15 years or 20 years. What Trump is trying to do now, it will have been much easier, But right now, it is extremely difficult to try to contain China. If they did it at the time, then it would have been easier because at that time, China was still trying to build its industrial base. But now China's industrial base is well established. It's a very powerful industrial base. So, to the question of who will be worse off between the two, it is extremely difficult to tell. Extremely difficult. And China recognizes this. And that is why China is playing hardball. China is playing hardball. China has been very strategic and meticulous. They want to dominate the world. They want to take over from the US as the dominant economic superpower. So they've been strategic, they've been working it out, spreading their tentacles all over the world, Europe, Asia, Caribbean, Africa. They're spread all over the world. So they've been strategic. While America has been greedy, profit, margins, China has been very, very strategic. Together with Russia, they built the BRICS nation. These are powerful trading blocks. And then they have the Belt and Road Initiative, which over 120 countries have all signed up to it. So this is a very powerful uh, conglomeration of countries that do business with China. So it is very difficult to dislodge China. So China have come of age, and China knows this. And that is why China is playing hardball. They're digging in. The only thing is, which may be an albatross, is that Chinese economy is extremely export dependent. It is very unbalanced. It's an unbalanced economy because it produces all these goods, ships it to the rest of the world. The internal market is huge because of the population, but it is not as robust as the US economy. The US economy is very robust. The purchasing power parity in the US is very solid. So the Americans are able to buy stuff. Americans are rich. They are well to do. So even the regular middle class person can afford a significant amount of product or produce. So that is where the US has an advantage over China. But does that advantage now translate into that they will be better off? You can't say yes or no to that question. So it's extremely difficult to tell. So, but that is where the advantage the US has, where that's where it lies. And Trump also recognizes this. Because the US remains the most desirable market in the world. And you have to aggregate. China has to aggregate most of its European and Asian market to be able to surpass the singular US market. You know. So, and on top of that, the US has very minimal tariff over the years. So it's easier to do business in America. It costs less to import goods, ship goods into America. And the cost of doing business generally in America when it comes to international trade is less. So China knows that America is its prime market, but China has option, because if America has constitutes 15% of Chinese export overall, you know, then it means that China has a significant option. China has options. China has options. So to the question of who will bow or who will capitulate, we don't know really. We may have an idea because of what is unfolding and because of some of the information we have out there. We may have an idea. But China is extremely strong. Extremely strong. Very strong. And apart from looking strong, and apart from digging in, it has time. President Xi is not looking for re-election. He's already president for life. So he has time. As long as the Chinese economy remains resilient, he has time. And that's why he wants to fight. But you know what they say? He who comes to equity must come with clean hand. China does not have a clean hand because China has about 67% tariff on US for many, many years when you put all the taxes together. So they are the aggressors, so to speak. So, but they're pretending, just like the rest of the world, EU and Canada are pretending that all of a sudden Trump is doing something that nobody has heard of. They are the ones that have been doing it over many, many years to America. So China does not have clean hands in this. They are actually the aggressors here. Trump is only trying to right the wrong. Unfortunately, though, Trump doesn't have the luxury of too much time. He doesn't. That is why it is important that he negotiates as fast as possible with other countries. If he does that, then the main issue will become just China. And then both countries will figure it out. Both leaders will figure it out. But Trump needs to negotiate a deal with the rest of the world. And he is going to do that because the last time we checked, over 100 countries have reached out to make a deal. So he will make a deal. And that is what is in Trump's favor. Another thing in his favor is that he started early in his administration to pursue this. So he has a little time. Not compared to President Xi's time, but he has a little time because he started early in his administration to pursue it. So, but he must keep fighting the media. He must fend off the Democrats. And he must also fend off some Republicans to continue to focus on what he's doing. Because in this environment, it's very easy to get derailed by the too much noises and the too much naysayers. And part of Trump's strategy in this whole Chinese trade war, has been what he is doing at the Panama Canal, trying to wrestle the canal out of China's grip. Is all part of the overall strategy, and which he is succeeding with that too. He's succeeding with that. So, to conclude this podcast, in conclusion, we all know that China-US export is a hefty number. It's about 600 billion a year. But China also has other trading partners in Europe and Asia and across the world. Other Asian countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Russia, for instance, they do very solid numbers. Germany, they do very solid numbers. Not as huge as America in one shot, but they do solid numbers too. So if you put them together, maybe 3, 4, or 5 of them, it's comparable. So China does solid numbers with other countries. So we are about 15% of Chinese exports. But in the end, the US and China will have to make a deal. They will have to make a deal. But first of all, Trump must make a deal with the rest of the world and Europe before the Chinese. I predict that China may be the last deal to be made. I may be wrong, but from what we see right now, it's looking like China may be the last deal to be made. So both countries will eventually come together And China must lower its trade barrier. They must make it easier for US companies to do business in China. That is all Trump is asking for. They will have to negotiate a better environment for trade for both countries. And as President Xi puts it, there are no winners in a trade war. So he also has to know that there are no winners, according to him. So, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. If any of you think that there may be winners after all, or there may be losers after all, between the two countries, put it in the comment section. And we will continue to monitor what is going on with the trade war, with the tariff. And going into the new week, we will see how the negotiations will begin to shape up. And then I will bring you another episode and explain to you what is going on. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share this video and also like it. It helps with the algorithm. All right? Cheers.